Welcome to At Home with Joan and Monty Talk Show. How are you, Monty? How is everything?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. I'm very excited about our guest today, who are in the acting and the producing industry. We also have Mrs. Well Scotland joining us as well. So this is very, very exciting, and I'm looking forward to interviewing them.
Without further ado, let us introduce our first guest.
Hi guys, how are you? I'm Melissa. I'm a
Hi.
multi-award-winning businesswoman, and I'm also Mrs. Scotland.
Melissa, can you tell us about yourself?
Yes, so I have been born and bred in Scotland, lived here all my life, and 10 years ago I decided to open up my own salon. And from there it's just went to strength to strength.
So Melissa, you're currently reigning Miss Scotland World 2020. What is it like transitioning from a career in hair and beauty to becoming Miss Scotland World 2020?
Pageants were always a passion and always a hobby for me, and to be honest, I always just did them for fun. So see, when I was awarded the title Mrs. Scotland, I was like, wow, I can't wait to see where this will take me and use my platform for good. And it was brilliant, amazing, and once in a lifetime experience.
And what was it like competing at the Miss Scotland pageant?
It was very good. In the UK, it was fantastic. I got to meet so many amazing women. And then when I went to America, it was all the bright lights of Las Vegas. It was like a dream. It was fantastic.
So Melissa, while preparing to compete for the title of Miss Scotland World, now let's get the world bit in there, you received, unfortunately, a major health scare that caused your life to change dramatically. Now, please share with us what took place. What does CML mean?
2 years ago, I was diagnosed with CML, which is chronic myeloid leukemia. It's a form of blood cancer. So it really stopped me in my tracks for a little while, but I know I've got my inner warrior in me. So I made sure that going forward, I will put 100% into everything that I do and make sure that cancer doesn't stop me. And I want to inspire others to do the same.
Melissa, do you still have the blood cancer?
Yes.
Really?
It's a cancer you've got to live with, because unlike other forms of cancer, chemotherapy you can zap it out of you, and hopefully you will get better. But because mine is all throughout my blood, it's a cancer I've got to live with.
How did it happen? How did you get this blood cancer? There's such unfortunate news.
Yeah, it was so out of the blue. I get my bloods done because I've got quite low iron levels. So I just went in for a regular blood test, and I got a phone call the next day telling me to go straight to hospital as it's an emergency.
Like, Jonah, do you know anything about this? How do you develop blood cancer? Like, something for our listeners to know. Can you educate us how people can, what are the symptoms for it? It's really scary stuff.
Yeah, there's not that many symptoms. I didn't have any. I thought I was just maybe a little bit tired. I love my job. I love working, and I put it down to just maybe working a bit too much. That's why I was feeling a bit sluggish. And you find out when you get a bone marrow biopsy and it shows up in your blood. So if you're not feeling too well, I do recommend everybody goes for a regular blood test.
Is one of the symptoms is having low iron levels?
The symptoms really can vary. It really can, like with if you're being anemic and if you're tired. CML is one of those difficult ones because the average person that gets CML is a man in their 60s. So when I got it, it was a shock, and there's no reason really why I got it. As the doctor said, it's just luck. It just happened. That was my luck.
Cancer. What can we do? Like, how can we help you to get rid of this cancer?
Raise awareness. That's it. You've
Really?
just got to raise awareness, make sure lots of people are going for blood tests, supporting each other, and just making sure you are still helping Macmillan Cancer Research and Cancer Research UK, because they're the ones that can come up with a cure one day.
Yeah.
Okay, this time I would love to introduce our second guest for the program today, Mr. Renee Costa. Welcome to the show, Renee. Tell us about yourself.
Thank you for having me, guys. What can I tell you? I've been in the industry now 25 years, and I started off basically 25 years back doing a bit of background. Then obviously I got more featured work, done a few very good popular projects. Then I started writing, as you know, and produced a couple of my own projects. Memoirs was the last one, Memoirs of a Dying Man, which is doing the festivals at the moment. And we've had quite a few accolades come back, so it's nice to see that we're actually getting a little bit of recognition now with our projects. Just finished my book, which I'm promoting, as you know, Fight Fire with Fire. That's more of an autobiography. It tells the life of a young boy being brought up through the civil war in Cyprus and coming to another country like England, starting out fresh, not knowing the language, which was a big obstacle. Obviously, difficult times at school, you know, because obviously if you don't know the language, you're in a strange place, dealing with bullies. It's in the book. All the way up to the 60s, where my father was always in the business. He used to have nightclubs. And in the 60s, as we all know, they had the protection rackets that started in the 50s. And we envisaged and experienced that time where they came into our restaurant, nightclub, and smashed the place up more than once. You know, when they did this, my father just was persistent and just said, okay, we'll fix it. And we just kept fixing things, getting things back to normal. We were all kids by then, but eventually my father had enough of all these bullies smashing the place down. You know, it was, you know, there was so much damage over the years. And
Rene, why was this happening? Why did you guys get attacked?
Well, in those days, I don't know if you know much about the 50s and 60s, they had what you call the protection rackets. A lot of gangs.
The security, yeah.
Yeah, you know, you had a lot of gangs from East London that would do this. You know, obviously the most famous, the Crays, the Richardsons.
The Cray brothers, yes.
Yeah, but in North London, there were various other gangs because you had the North, East, South, West. And, you know, we envisaged that. Eventually, it went to the news of the world. You know, it was a big spread. You know, we had 3 or 4 weeks of the news of the world where, you know, went to the Old Bailey. And I just thought one day, it's a story that I wanted to put out, you know, because so much happened, you know, as you're growing up, and you know, so many, you know, sad times that I could remember. So for me, it was something that I was discussing with my dad years ago. He's been passed now 20 years. But I said to him one day, we're going to write the story, Dad. But unfortunately, we never got to do it. When he passed, I thought with this lockdown, it was the greatest time for me to start writing. I met Steve. Can you hear us, Steve?
Hi, hello, Steve. Welcome.
Hello, I'm here. Hello.
Yeah, I met Steve, you know, a few years back on a film set, and we really hit it off. And last year, I said to Steve, I want to write this autobiography, and I want you to help me. And I started writing it. Steve does all the editing on it.
Steve, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you get involved in Renee's writing project?
Well, it was strange, really, because I'm from a background in education, teaching physical education, including coaching cricket, Monty. And
Oh wow!
it was something that seemed to come by accident to a certain extent, in that I started doing extra work in TV and films. And the very first one I did was Ready Player One in Birmingham, which was directed by Steven Spielberg. And that was really, really interesting. And then I did a bit more on TV, various TV shows and stuff. Met Rene doing an advert for a well-known book betting firm, and we just kept in touch via Facebook. We met each other again doing an advert for a car, and then I started writing. In that, if I read a book, sometimes I think this will make a good film, and then I thought, right, okay, let's see if I can write a screenplay. So I've done now 4. Some have won awards at film festivals, but trying to get them actually onto the screen is very, very difficult, especially with the current climate.
Thank you, Steve. Renee, can you tell us a little bit about your company now? You moved from being an actor, writer, director, and now you've got your own film company.
Costarama was put together about 3 or 4 years ago when I wrote a screenplay comedy, right, which Steve had a small part in that, right? And what I wanted to do was I wanted to bring back comedy of the 60s, 70s, 80s, you know, your Till Death Us Do Part, Alf Garnett, if you remember in that, the 2 Ronnies, Only Fools and Horses is another one, you know, that sticks out, 40 Towers. And what I did was, from an experience I had years ago, you know, once in a while, all of us, you know, here today, we must all have experiences where we can put it in the back of our minds and think about this one moment that will always bring a smile to your face and you think, yeah, that was funny. So from that, you know, I thought, I've got to write about this. And from that, what I did, I spent some time at home with my wife, Gillian, right, and started developing all these characters, you know. And when you're developing characters, it's like everything. You've got to have the right name for the right character. You've got to have a meaning why they're together, why they're in this. And slowly, we put all these characters together, and we wrote this, you know, I think, fantastic comedy. You know, it was old style, 80s fun, and we filmed it 2-3 years ago. Right, went to the festivals. It did reasonably well. You know, I'm still very, very proud of it. And one day I told Steve and some of the crew members we're going to do it again, but we're not going to do 1 episode. We're going to do 3 or 4 episodes because it gets better. You know, when you're writing, people don't realise when you're writing a comedy and you're creating characters. Creating characters have to be introduced in the first episode. It's how you develop them as the episodes go. And, you know, the audience getting to know those characters. And 2nd, 3rd, 4th episodes, those characters come out. It's like a flower that blooms. And you see more of them and you understand them. It's like everything we see. You look at Netflix. You can pick anything out on Netflix. You look at the first episode. You'll have something that will take you there, but then it needs time to develop, and that's what we're hoping to do, you know, at some time pretty soon.
Absolutely fascinating, you know, what you're doing and stuff like that. And we're definitely going to touch more upon the award series, you know, comedy series that you produced. But let's go to Melissa, who's quietly been listening to both Steve and Renee. So,
it's been lovely.
So yeah, Melissa, over the past 18 months, what challenges did you face undergoing CML treatment regime and running your Max hair studio?
When you hear of cancer, you just think of like chemotherapy being injected, whereas it's a chemotherapy in a tablet. So I take that every morning, and I've got to stay in bed for a little while because it brings on sickness and like the horrible side effects. So I'm up about 6:30 in the morning, I take that, and then the next 2-3 hours I'm out for the count. So I've had to change my hours around in my salon, and I now kind of go in late morning, and then I work later on because I love my job and I love my clients, and like I said, like cancer's, it's not stopping me at all. I'm going to keep working.
And that's the spirit, you know. That's what I love about you, Melissa. You know, you're really showing this positive spirit. You're running your own salon. You're Miss Scotland World. You're not letting cancer beat you. But during, you know, when you're performing as Miss Pageant, were there any signs or symptoms that you were going through while you were competing?
Yeah, I did find it really tough because when we were in Vegas, some days it was 12-hour dance rehearsals, and I couldn't do that. Some of the side effects I get are bone pain and muscle pain. It's like my muscles have deteriorated quite a lot. So I found it really difficult to try and keep up with everybody. But as soon as the cameras went on, the lights went on, and they went, go on stage, I was like, yep, like that's me. I'm not going to let anything faze me. I'm going to go out and I'm going to do my best. And being Mrs. Scotland, I want to make my country proud.
Brilliant. That's brilliant. So, Rene, tell us more about this award-winning series. Well, this TV series, you know, the Crappers, and where did the inspiration come from? You know, that's what I love about these successful stories.
With the Crappers, that wasn't Memoirs. We've got a couple of awards for Memoirs, but not for the Crappers. The Crappers, unfortunately, although we put it out there, it was a very good show. We had a couple of issues with backroom staff, you know, with editing, with sound and things. Although we put it out, we didn't actually release it because I felt, although everyone thought it was wonderful, I just felt the quality was not right, and that's why we never pushed it. The one we recently did, it's been in festival. We're still waiting from 14 to 16 more festivals to give us feedback, get our recognitions, and it's nice to feel recognised, and that's why, you know, I do things. I don't you know, do things because I'm looking for gain or financial gain. I'm quite happy to be where I am at this moment of time, retired, and just everything I do is, for me, is a hobby. I love creating something and seeing it come to life, you know, and that's what for me is the beauty, you know, creating.
I think that's brilliant, because Rene, you've got like a book that you're coming out with, and Melissa, I think there's a book in you know, for that inspirational stuff that you written.
No, absolutely.
And I've got the full Monty as well. But Steve, fight fire with fire. What is this all about? I want to know more about this. That
was my dad's saying.
Really? Oh, so go on then. Tell us this story then. Obviously, you both have got such a close friendship. Tell us more about this quote. Go on, Steve.
I think that's a great title, and I think it sums up what has happened really. Whereas Rene is the sort of bloke that could look after himself. He didn't go looking for trouble, but unfortunately, trouble seemed to find him. But he dealt with it, and I think that the title, especially as a little bit of a sort of tribute to his dad, but I think "Fight Fire with Fire" is a really good title, because it seems to.
But where did the quote come from? Fight fire with fire. Like, where did it come from? Because Rene said it was his dad's favorite quote. Like, where did this quote come from?
It came back. Yeah, the saying came back when, after at least a dozen times our place got smashed up, and you know, the police would come there, CID, and unless they had more evidence, they would just take the paperwork back to the office, and that was it. And my father one day says he started to, you know, have an inkling he knows who's behind it. And he said, you know, his saying was, okay, they want to play, because my father had a business in Cyprus, and a nice club in Cyprus, so he knew the business quite well. But what he didn't realise was when he comes to England, that he will be dealing with all these people that will demand money from him. So his idea was, okay, they want to keep smashing my place. I'm not going to the police this time. I'm going to fight fire with fire, and that's what he did. He got a few of his disciples together, right? Because I don't know if you know much about our culture in the 50s. We were going through a civil war. We were going through independence. Hence why the family came to England. And when he came to England, so did a few of his disciples came over to England. So when he knew the time was right, he said, okay, you're going to throw fire at me, I'm going to throw it back at you. And he came out with a quote, okay, we're going to fight fire with fire. We're going to deal with this. And they did. They dealt with it. Obviously, looking back now, was it the right thing? Possibly not, but at least it stopped the bullies from smashing his place down over and over again. And that's what the book's about, really. It's about putting your foot down and saying, no, I'm not going to let you have your own way. You can do it once, twice, 3 times, but that's it.
We could say enough is enough, and we could do it in a right way, or we could do it in a very negative way. And I think it's how it comes across. People have to be reasonable and sensible, and they do need to stand up for what they believe in, and they do need to stand up for injustice. Well, stand up against injustice. I'd like to ask Rene, what was the role that he enjoyed playing the most as an actor on television? And also, what was the role you enjoyed most playing on the big screen?
Well, there's been several roles that I've really enjoyed. I played a role a couple of years back for a production for a very good friend of mine up north. I had to drive up to north, a project called Creamy Boy. And I had to play an Italian in that. So obviously I had to master the accent and the frustration of playing a father of.
Go on, then give us an Italian accent. I want to hear it.
What can I say to you? What is it you want to know? What is it? It's time you got a job. What's the matter with you, you bad boy?
I've come here to get my money. Give my money.
Monty, you behave yourself, Monty. You behave yourself.
Melissa, you've been really quiet, and tell us about your future plans. You're a businesswoman who's fighting cancer. What does the future hold for you?
I've decided to launch my own. It's like a coffee company, and it's weight management, and it really promotes like good well-being, weight management, gives you energy. So while in lockdown, I've started up another business because I've got that entrepreneur spark inside me, so I can't sit about and do nothing. So I've been promoting that all over my social media, and just after I was diagnosed, I was seriously thinking about my future. What if I can't work? So I launched my own brand of hair extensions as well. So like to keep busy.
And how is it going? How is the brand of new hair extension and the coffee business going?
Yeah, so the hair extensions have really taken off. I'm hoping to have my website finished and set up accounts so other hair salons all over the UK and Europe can purchase from myself. And the coffee business is going great at the moment because most of us have our coffee routine, and literally it's just switching your coffee with my coffee.
Is there a possibility that you're writing a book about your life story and the challenges you face as a beauty pageant queen with CML?
Yeah, that is something I have thought about. I was approached actually when I was in America about a future book deal. So I've started up my own website, I've started up my own blog, as I would love to do something like that in the future, because I think it's really good to have a real positive mindset, and I just would like to think that people that are in my situation have got someone to possibly look up to or compare to, because I turn every negative into a positive.
I'll be honest with you, Melissa. I think I would definitely look forward to that book. So where's Renee? You are getting a lot of media attention at the moment, aren't you? With your latest movie project, The Memoirs of the Dying Man.
Yes. That was an idea that I wrote 3 or 4 years ago, and we actually filmed it 3 or 4 years ago. But again, I wasn't happy. So what I did was, last year, I rewrote it, restructured it, and we started again. And we filmed it. We started filming last February 2019, and finished it this year, put it into the festivals. And yeah, we've had some good feedback on that. We've had some good selections on it. And I'm looking forward to getting all the final reviews up to the end of October, November, and then we'll see what we're going to do. It's actually it's a documentary, not a film. It's a narration, and we based it on the 1930s, 1940s films, black and white. That's why if you ever get the chance to see it, you will get that feel of 1930s, 1940s style.
You know, once you get to a certain age, you're not relevant, but you both are still relevant. And how do you manage to stay, useful in your industry?
There's a circle of friends, actors, producers, directors, and they all do their own projects. And what happens is they help you, you help them. They cast you into this and they say, listen, can you do? So we're always active. We're all helping each other. And I think success is all about helping each other. I, for one, have helped, I'll say I've helped so many people out with their projects. All they got to do is ring me up. If I'm available, I will go and help them. It's not about how much you're going to have in your pocket or gain. You do it. If you're going to help a friend out, and that's what it's all about. I believe in our industry, especially the one thing we never mentioned, we're more into the independent movie industry. That's what we do, independent. Although we do the odd role here and there for TV, most of the stuff we do that we want to put out is independent. Independent basically means I've got a project, I've self-funded that. I've asked no one for help. Now you tell me what you think of it. And that's how it works. We just help each other.
I think that's what impresses me the most about you, Rene. I know so many people who are looking for funding. You're like, sod this. I'm going to produce something. I'm going to fund it.
Yeah.
And that's a lot harder to do.
Yes, it is hard. But what we've got to realize as well, the use of the word relevant. Age does not make you less relevant. Youth doesn't make you relevant. It depends on the role that you're written in for. You match and you fit in that role. So
Clint Eastwood's 90, and
exactly,
he's still directing. And you look at him, it's all about keeping fit. If you can keep fit, healthy, have enough sleep, eat the right things, take the stress away, you can keep going and have the right people around you. You need to have. The most important thing is your mental attitude, right?
Yeah.
If that is right and you've got the right people around you, you mix with the right people, you can keep going, And I think age is a number.
In closing, I'd like to thank each and every one of you, Melissa, Renee, and Steve, for being on the At Home with Joan Monty talk show. And I'd like to thank my fellow co-host, Monty Hansner, for joining me today. And
Monty,
thank you, Steve, Renee, and Melissa.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Goodbye.
Monty,
Thank you.
Thank you so much.